It just got real as we have a massive Oilers free agency update coming to us from the man himself, Bob Stauffer, Stan Bowman and Judge Jackson, trying to create something in the lab there regarding the Oilers of the 2025-26 NHL season, trying to make this team better, trying to, trying to make things work in. We will talk about the different ways the Oilers could make things happen this off season. We just hit 3,900 subscribers on the road to 4,000, folks, but still there are 84% of you watching these videos that have not yet subscribed. If you're loving the content here during the summer, I know there's not a whole lot of groundbreaking Oiler content until something like a McDavid extension happens, or God forbid a trade. There will still be lots of Oiler content to talk about there. So make sure you hit that button down below for any and all Oiler content there. But when it comes to the Oilers in free agency there, I mean throughout the entire National Hockey League, not a whole lot going on, but the Oilers still trying to cook something up there. But hopefully, it's for the right things. But right now, they are looking for the wrong things when it comes to multiple NHL insiders. First, right off the bat here, David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period on the Hello Hockey Show says the Oilers, they are looking for another top six guy. I mean, what franchise in the NHL isn't looking for another top six guys? Apparently, he also said the same thing regarding the Toronto Maple Leafs there. Now, David Pagnotta, I mean, he could tell me the sky is blue and I'd still somehow doubt him there. But for the Oilers, with their top six, I mean, right now, it's not the worst. I mean, sure, it could be upgraded, but, the Oilers, they're looking for the wrong things here. Again, goaltending. I'm going to hammer that one home every time I can there, but right now, the Oilers' projected top six from Daily Faceoff. This is all subject to change here with Isaac Howard, or Ike Howard, with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman, who may or may not be available to start training camp there for the Oilers. That's something we have to keep an eye on. The only, reason why the Oilers should look for top six is if Zach Hyman isn't good to go for the start of the season there, but you can put anybody there in that top right wing spot there, with the second line being Vasily Podkolzin and Leon Draisaitl in Matthew Savoy. So the Oilers banking on the two rookies there with Howard in Savoy, but, from the interviews I've seen with them, they are more than confident to, slide into those roles and, get going right from the jump. Am I guaranteeing it? Absolutely not. But again, very, very hopeful from what I've seen and heard from those two there. And especially, the Oilers, with not a whole lot of cap space, $225,000 in the current cap. I mean, the projected deadline cap space is almost, a little over $1 million there, but still not a whole lot to work with there for Stan Bowman when he's still trying to look for, multiple things during this free agency season there. But Bob Stauffer, a man who's a little bit more trustworthy there than Pagnotta, says the Oilers already got a lot of forwards right now at this time, and they might be moving a guy out there. Two candidates could be either Adam Henrique or Matthias Janmark, because Adam Henrique makes a lot of sense as someone the Oilers could move on from, with Edmonton, potentially looking to run Nugent-Hopkins as the third line center. That would force Henrique down to the fourth line. Having your fourth line center carry a $3 million cap hit is an expensive luxury that they could probably live without, especially with guys like Curtis Lazar and Noah Phillip able to fill that role at league minimum there. As you can see here, with Henrique in Janmark, Henrique has a no move clause, or a modified no trade clause, I should say. And the Oilers did approach him to see if he would waive that, and obviously he said no there, so it looks like the Oilers will be sticking with Henrique there. So the odd man out is Matthias Janmark. Of course, he also has a modified no trade list, but a little easier to trade there. I do believe he has a 10-team trade list with his contract there, but 32 years old. Sure, he can PK, but a lot of other Oilers on this team can PK. Henrique can PK, wins faceoffs relatively easily there. You have guys like Matt Savoy. Kris Knoblauch said in his interview there with Stauffer that he was looking to put Savoy on the PK there. Nugent-Hopkins, to say the least. So you have multiple guys who can PK on this team, and that makes Janmark very, very expendable there. And, this summer, very, very quiet to start things off here. But from John Shannon of Sportsnet says, I still think we're going to see a bump of trades coming. And so what we're also then going to see is a second wave of free agent signings. Guys like Jack Roslovic and Victor Olofsson are going to be in a position where they will get contracts there. That was supposed to be after the Nikolai Ehlers signing there with the Carolina Hurricanes. John Shannon said, after that, multiple teams who missed out on Ehlers would be active in the trade market. Not right off the bat, but hopefully sometime soon there, with Roslovic and Victor Olofsson taking the first in fourth spot there on the daily faceoff remaining free agent the board, the remaining free agents there on the board there. Lots of names here, very interesting, but again, at the same time, a lot of names, there are reasons why these guys haven't been signed. You can see there at the bottom, Clean Cost in there, fan favorites in Edmonton, but, very, very quiet since his departure from the Oilers. They're both with the Detroit Red Wings and the San Jose Sharks. There are a lot of guys who are either old or very injury prone, or both, with Max Pacioretty, 36 years old, had a $1.5 million cap hit last year with the Toronto Maple Leafs, only appearing in 37 games with 5 goals and 13 points. Yeah, he got a pretty big goal there in Game 6 against the Ottawa Senators there, but someone that I've seen linked to the Oilers, but I have no idea why there. The Oilers trying to get, younger and faster there. As a contrast from last year, having a whole bunch of older guys on the team there. But you can see Max Pacioretty, almost 37 years of age there. And again, a lot of stats here that aren't really interesting to me whatsoever. Lots of other people could say, hey, he's a vet at league minimum, plug and play type of guy, but the Oilers, if they're looking for top six, Max Pacioretty, I should say, his top 6 days are long gone there. But two interesting, options for the Oilers could be Brian Rust and Rickard Rakell from the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are in a rebuild stage there in the twilight of Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin's career, and Chris Letang to an extent there. Brian Rust carries a $5.125 million cap hit there with a no-move clause. It'll be very, it'll be hard to get Brian Rust, not only with the no-move clause, but also that contract too, and especially the price that Kyle Dubas would be asking for, as Rust plays with Sidney Crosby there, putting up 65 points in this last year here with the Penguins. 30-goal scorer, might I add, only once in his career, but still playing next to Sidney Crosby. That will do wonders to you, no matter how old Sid is. He's just one of those players, very cerebral from the start to the finish of his career there. Again, he'd be on the right side, which would be, beneficial for Zach Hyman, not replacement, but just, to plug that hole before Zach Hyman comes back into the lineup if he is not ready to go there. And the other option, Rickard Rakell, $5 million cap hit. He's been on Edmonton's radar for a very long time, even when he went back to being, an Anaheim Duck, or going back to his Anaheim Ducks days, I should say there. But he's got an 8-team no-trade list, and again, with the Penguins in a rebuilding stage there, Rakell, also nothing to, nothing to scoff at as well. 35-goal scorer last year with the Penguins, a very awful Penguins team, might I add. 70 points. So Rust and Rakell, they could be, bought for easily, but not, I should say they should be bought for, but not that easily with Kyle Dubas and trying to, rebuild this Penguins team there. So, two interesting options, but for the Oilers to kind of have their hands tied behind their backs right now with their cap situation and just, a whole lot of other variables with this team there. And again, they're looking for the wrong things. They should be looking for goaltending, but you've heard me say that time and time again. You're probably wanting me to shut up about goaltending, but honestly, that is where the Oilers, that is the one area of improvement. But you know what? I'm not going to hold my breath on it anytime soon, but that is it for today's video. Let me know down in the comments, out of all the remaining free agents or, players on the trade block from, awful teams, who would be your number one target for the Oilers. Let me know down in the comments there. I'm very interested to see what you all have to say down below regarding that question there, but take care. It's the middle of the week, folks, but it's one day close to the Saturday. Take care. Have a great day. I'm Matt.